So let's talk about all that, plus the government shutdown, and bring in our friend Judd Gregg. He's former Republican senator and governor of New Hampshire. Senator Gregg, it's great to have you on right now. These Trump and China comments obviously impacting the market. The president saying China is getting very hostile right now. What do you make of it?
Well, first, you have to recognize who you're dealing with. You're dealing with a nation that has 1 billion more people than we have, and they're run by a dictatorship. I don't think they're going to be overly threatened by the president's massive threat of tariffs. And, of course, who pays the tariffs? It's a sales tax on the American people. I don't think that really bothers the Chinese leadership too much. They do need trade, however. The one thing that threatens a dictatorship like the Chinese is instability, and instability comes from people not having jobs in their own country. So they're going to need us to work out a deal that allows them to continue to grow economically. And you do that by sitting down with them and talking with them. You recognize that most of what they say, they probably won't stand by because they're a dictatorship. But you do it, so you do it with open eyes. But you've got to negotiate with them. And I certainly hope the president will go to South Korea and meet with Xi and see where they can go from there. But you got to remember the president's mercurial, to say the least, and the Chinese are methodical. And that's just a fundamental cultural difference between the two countries, really. And so we have to recognize that and move forward recognizing that. But this massive threat of tariffs, it's a sales tax on the American people, and they don't care.
Well, this is fascinating because, obviously, Senator, we're on CNBC. So we say, well, he tweeted this out or social media posted this out, and therefore stocks are falling. So the inverse would seem to apply. If, to your point, we get another social media post or comments the next couple of days, talk to President Xi, nice conversation, postponing any threat of higher tariffs, the markets would then recover what they're losing today. So do you think these are hollow threats?
Hollow, probably not in the president's mind. Hollow, however, not hollow. Hollow is too strong a word, but not overwhelmingly threatening in the Chinese mind. And I suspect that both sides will recognize there's not a whole lot of point in continuing on this road because both economies depend on each other so much. And we need their rare earth. They need our markets. They need our technology. And so there are places where we can meet.
Yeah, and the real risk, I think, Senator Gregg, is not tariffs, to your point, on socks or some other import from China. It's around Taiwan. I mean, ultimately, that would be the real risk because Taiwan semiconductor is 97, 98% of basically all semiconductors in the world. You'd shut down global technology if there was some kind of embargo or landlock around Taiwan. Is there a risk to that, or do you think that Xi Jinping also knows he and his people have a lot to lose?
Well, there is a massive risk there. I mean, it's hard to underestimate the extent of that risk. Of course, rare earth is also a significant risk because 90% of the rare earth or more comes from China, and everything runs off of rare earth. It's technology these days. But the threat to Taiwan semiconductor, should the Chinese decide to initiate taking back Taiwan in some form, either through an embargo or physical threat, would have a huge impact internationally and lead to some sort of worldwide economic crisis. Does Xi see it that way? Do the Chinese leadership, do they see it that way? They understand it. I don't think there's any question about that. But Xi has made it very clear. He's made it very clear ever since he's assumed his office that his number one foreign policy initiative, besides expanding the hegemony of China in areas where they have a natural influence, and they're doing a good job of that, unfortunately, but that's the way it is to get Taiwan back. That's what he wants. His legacy, basically, he has said his legacy is to have Taiwan reintegrated into China the way that Hong Kong was reintegrated into China. So it's a problem. It's not going away. How it's managed is going to be, it's going to take real significant, thoughtful approach.
Yeah.
I hear all this jingoism these days, especially from some former military members and some members in Congress who I think are fools, saying, oh, we can go to war. You can't go to war with a country that has 1 billion more people than you have. You just can't do it. And their technology is competitive, or will be soon. So this has to be worked out. You would hope that Xi understands it has to be worked out.
Yeah.
That a military solution is not, he does not try a military solution, but he may certainly try an embargo solution. It's regrettable that Taiwan Semiconductor refuses to move its really significant technology offshore. They could move it to some other country that's not going to be integrated into China in the long run.
Yeah.